Legend of Exorcism. Chapter 77. Counting debts after the autumn harvest. The spring sunlight was bright, and it was the perfect season to go sightseeing. Emorigin was about to go ask Lu Su where he wanted to go, but Li Jinglong let out an angry shout, "Go investigate cases. You still want to go play? Do you want your salary anymore?" Emorigin had long since spent all the money he had on him, and he also had to take care of Lu Su. Atai and Ashinakayan had come for the money, and Hung Jun had run away from home without a single cent on him. Upon seeing their expressions, Li Jinglong couldn't resist saying, "Yo, it can't be, can it? We just celebrated the new year, and you all are so poor already." "Everyone. To tell you the truth," Qiu Yangxi said, smiling apologetically, "the traveling expenses that my grandfather gave me have also run dry. How about Zhenqi lend us brothers some?" Li Jinglong hadn't thought that these princes, who had viewed gold like dirt, now had to live on a salary in the span of a single year. Weren't they all from well-to-do families? Those words really had him wanting to speak a few mocking sentences, but as he thought about it, it'd be best if he didn't say too much at first. "Work," Li Jinglong said in the end. "Don't even think about reaping the rewards without doing any work first." Hung Jun and Lu Su had never understood the hardships of the world, but Emorigin, Qiu Yangxi, Atai, and Ashinakayan did, and knew that it was hard for them to take even a single step without money. After breakfast, Li Jinglong had Qiu Yangxi take a trip to the Judiciary Department to bring back the case scrolls that had piled up over several months, and everyone began to flip through them in the hall. "Yesterday, you said that he had what abilities?" Hung Jun asked Lu Su. Lu Su and Hung Jun sat in the corner. Both of them didn't have any sense of money, but whatever their superiors did, they naturally would do as well, and they just treated it as play. Lu Su kept his voice low, and he whispered, "I found that, even when the information isn't complete, he can guess a lot of things, and he can always manage to tease out the truth of the matter." Instinct BA. Hung Jun turned back and glanced. At this moment, Li Jinglong was currently writing up a memorial to the throne, while everyone was sitting amongst the piled scrolls, digging through them. Lu Su shook his head and said, "He can't have relied on his instinct every time. Haven't you discovered yet? His deductions, even if his conditions aren't fully there, are always very close to the truth, like he can see the future." Hung Jun knew that Li Jinglong had quite a few abilities that were different from the common person, for example, being able to discern objects by the sound of the wind, and shooting blindly, but Lu Su brought up something that he hadn't considered before. "Perhaps it's the effect of the Sword of Wisdom," Lu Su said. "What use does the Sword of Wisdom have?" Hung Jun asked once more. "The Sword of Wisdom, the devil-subduing staff, the golden arrows, the ring of the sun," Lu Su said quietly. "They are the 6 great artifacts of Akala, and they are especially made to break," but when he got to this point, Lu Su didn't keep speaking. Hung Jun lowered his head to look where his heart was, before he looked back at Lu Su. "How did you know?" Hung Jun asked quietly. Lu Su shrugged and said, "I just know. Don't ask me why." "Those are deranged things," Hung Jun said quietly. Lu Su nodded. Hung Jun thought of the Akala statue outside the door, and it really did seem to be the case. Lu Su continued, "Legend has it that only when the 6 artifacts are gathered can Mara be defeated, but you don't need to worry, he definitely won't be able to gather them all." Hung Jun had slowly begun to realize that Lu Su knew of a lot that they had never heard of before, and had some knowledge that even Qiu Yangxi and them didn't know. But when they dug deeper, Lu Su couldn't tell them where it was written, and perhaps it could only be explained that he was the white deer. As his soul was inherited, he maintained a lot of the memories of the original. Hung Jun then said, "I can help him think of ways to gather them all." "Is your head filled with water?" Lu Su's voice was a little louder. Li Jinglong couldn't resist saying, "Can you two not keep muttering to yourselves? Lu Su, it's not good to keep Hung Jun all to yourself. From when we got back until now, look, no one has even had a chance to speak to Hung Jun yet. Origin said to Lu Su, you two go look at the case scrolls ba. I can't read. Lu Su ate a handful of roasted peas, his face set in an expression of boredom. What can you all do to me? Hung Jun hurried to say, I'll teach you. Have you all found anything? Li Jinglong then asked. A weaver's loom moved on its own in the depths of the night, Tai said extremely tiredly and absent-mindedly, as if he had experienced a great blow last night. The rumors got out that it was ghosts. Li Jinglong said, I'll send someone out to check tonight. Chu Yangxi said, there's a man-eating Yao in Luoyang who specially steals kids. Rumor has it that it sucks out and devours the brains. What are they sending Luoyang's cases to Chang'an for? Li Jinglong found this rather strange. Goosebumps rose all over Hung Jun's body as he listened. Only Chang'an has an exorcism department, Origin said. They can only send it to us. Li Jinglong suddenly realized that there was a serious problem if they kept going like this. Wouldn't they have to take care of all the Yaoguai across the various parts of the country? If something happened in southern Yu or in Shizhong, the exorcists would have to hurry day and night to the region where the Yaoguai were wreaking havoc, which meant that they'd have to spend several months on the road alone. With so few people, how could he send them out like that? Here's another one, Origin said, handing the scroll to Li Jinglong. There's 1,000-year-old corpses coming in and out of MT. Ching Cheng. Are we going to take charge of that? We've never received cases from other regions before, Li Jinglong mused. What's going on here? Perhaps it's one of Xiaoyu's ploys, Tai remarked offhandedly. That's not likely, Chu Yangxi said, as light as a breeze. Though the divine land has not yet reached the stage where Yaoguai are wreaking havoc across it, Yao will appear across the land pretty regularly. Before, however, no one was in charge. Hung Jun suddenly remembered that the night that the heavenly nine-tailed fox had been defeated, quite a lot of Yaoguai had escaped from Chang'an, so he said, could they have been under that big fox? That's also possible, Origin replied. Either way, now they're sending them all here. With so many cases spread out across the land, just getting there would exhaust them to death. If they got to the location in question and found that it wasn't a Yaoguai, they'd have to come rushing back, which was really going to be the end of them. Li Jinglong also kept having a premonition Xiaoyu was definitely watching him very carefully from some corner. Both sides were currently having their troops stay put, reaching out feelers to probe the situation, cautiously and meticulously questing across this vast chessboard. Otherwise, Li Jinglong would never believe that Xiaoyu didn't know the devil seed was in Hung Jun's body, nor could he not know that Hung Jun was in Chang'an. With the Yao King's abilities, all he would have to do was make the Yaoguai cause trouble across the land, and that would be enough to exhaust the exorcism department from just running around alone. He could also use the trick of drawing the tiger away from the mountain to set out traps for them. When he got to this point in his thoughts, Li Jinglong said decisively, as long as they're not matters in Chang'an City, then put them all aside. Ashinakayang exclaimed, so you all pick the cases that are closest. You won't even pay attention to a case where children are having their brains sucked out. Li Jinglong. Tai immediately said to Ashinakayang, don't you know what situation we're in now? Everyone nodded, but none of them expected Tai to add scoldingly, we're this poor, and you're still talking back without caring about the greater picture. Li Jinglong almost died from the rush of rage he felt at that, and Chu Yangxi hurried to say, oh, I have it. The Changsha County's governor, Jiangsu, brought gifts with him to Chang'an, and he prepared lavish gifts for the imperial consort, only to lose them in the Chang'an in the spring breeze over the 9 provinces. He drank too much and ran into a thief ba, Li Jinglong said. Chu Yangxi, I also think so. Wait. Hung Jun immediately grew interested, and he asked, is it that Jiangsuan? Of course, Li Jinglong said. What other Jiangsun is there? Hung Jun. The Jiangsun of with 3 cups of wine, Jiangsun becomes known as the saint of Kosu. Hung Jun was shaken, but Li Jinglong said, he keeps drinking until he's dead drunk, so he won't pay any attention to you. No need to mind him anymore. Atai's curiosity suddenly sparked, and he said, Yangtze, didn't your cousin write a poem for him before? Help me ask him for a set of calligraphy, and 100 years after him, I'll bring it out to be sold. Chu Yangtze said, who knows, he might live even longer than you. Though he had said so, Li Jinglong couldn't pull out any old cases that were of any value at all. Perhaps it was because the Judiciary Department didn't dare to report on those at such a time, or perhaps it was because all the surrounding countries were coming to the capital to celebrate the imperial consort's birthday that the Yaogwai had all left Chang'an. Whatever the case, they were all news about the Yaogwai causing trouble outside of the city, so they decided to first clear out the cases within Chang'an. Amorigen and Lusu went to go find Jiangsun, Atai and Ashinakayan went to go investigate Daming Palace, while Chu Yangtze went forth to Mt. Li to investigate a case where the creek water had turned red. In just a few moments, Li Jinglong had sent off all of the rest, only leaving behind Hung Jun. Hung Jun wanted to go take a look at the Jiangsun of the legends, but Li Jinglong didn't heed him at all, until all of the rest had left, leaving behind only them two. What should we go do? Hung Jun couldn't resist asking. I'll take you to eat Minzi Mingao. There was a smile in Li Jinglong's eyes. Hung Jun found that as long as they weren't in front of other people, Li Jinglong always had a very faint smile. He smiled knowingly and said, okay. We'll go as soon as I finish writing up this missive, Li Jinglong added. Hung Jun waited, with nothing to do, but from the moment he understood that he liked Li Jinglong, the time when the two of them were alone seemed to no longer be as boring as well. Hung Jun first looked at his hand that was holding the brush, then to his upright seated posture, then to the side profile of his face, and no matter how he looked, he had a feeling that the more he looked, the more he liked him. In the beginning, he was only unwilling to admit it, but Lusu was right. He would have to admit to the feelings in his heart in the end. He slumped on the table, watching Li Jinglong write. Li Jinglong's handwriting was very beautiful, which was something Hung Jun had always admired about him. Does my writing look very pretty? Li Jinglong asked, upon noticing Hung Jun's gaze. Hung Jun ed. Li Jinglong continued, how is it, compared to Jiangsun's? As different as the heaven and the earth. Hung Jun, however, was very honest. Li Jinglong couldn't resist using the brush to go swipe at his face, as if when Hung Jun was shouting loudly from that teasing, he would feel inexplicably touched. Just as he was feeling that, however, a martial official arrived outside. Li Zhenqi, the martial official said. His Highness the Crown Prince requests your presence. Please wait for a moment, Li Jinglong replied. I'll go change my clothes. You must go now. The martial official's attitude was very stern, and after thinking deeply for a moment, Li Jinglong shrugged on his outer robe and hurried out. When they walked out of the yard, Hung Jun told the Carpiao to watch the house, while he and Li Jinglong climbed into a horse carriage and went all the way to Xinqing Palace. That martial official didn't say anything unnecessary along the way. Li Jinglong studied him for a moment, his forehead furrowed slightly. Hung Jun knew that he was probably planning out something again, so he didn't disturb him. Instead, he kept thinking over and over again about how nice the scenery of Chang'an was, but he didn't know how many more autumns and springs he would see. When they circled around the main hall of Xinqing Palace, Li Jinglong suddenly saw a handmaiden that looked familiar, and he immediately said to Hung Jun, have her bring this message to the imperial consort. If Li Jinglong hadn't mentioned it, Hung Jun wouldn't have recognized her at all. He took his leave from the carriage and caught up to that handmaiden. The two of them looked at each other, and the handmaiden smiled. Kongdaran. Hung Jun hadn't yet figured out who she was as he handed the missive to her and asked her to pass it along. That handmaiden smiled, nodded, and once again saluted to Hung Jun before she daintily left. "How did you know that she would recognize me?" Hung Jun asked curiously. That day, when the imperial consort came to the exorcism department, Li Jinglong said, she was following behind her. After leaving Jinhuoluo, while the imperial consort was chatting with you at night, it was her who was waiting on us in front of the carriage. Hung Jun didn't yet know what meaning that missive had when the two of them entered the Eastern Palace. "Li Jinglong, is the exorcism department this busy? If I don't send for you, you won't come." Based on his expression, Li Hung was clearly displeased today, and for him, who was usually refined and gentle, to put on such an expression, meant that he was a little enraged already. "I had wanted to request to see your highness today anyways," Li Jinglong said, properly greeting Li Hung. "It was only that I hadn't yet thought through a few matters clearly, so that delayed me a little." In the Eastern Palace, there were quite a few aides sitting by Li Hung's side, and there was a screen set up behind him. At this time, the aides all took their leave, and in a straight line on the table in front of them were 4 missives. One came from Geshuhan, one came from the Shazhu prefect Jiazhou, one had been penned by Li Jinglong himself, and the last one was a letter of impeachment that the Ministry of Supervision had signed and sent to the Ministry of War. "Look for yourself." Li Hung swiped his hand and sent the letters flying, and they plastered themselves to Li Jinglong's body. Hung Jun was just about to speak, but he was stopped by Li Jinglong's gaze. There weren't Minzi Mingao to eat, and they'd have to endure a scolding to boot. With that, Hung Jun instantly grew angry. "I sent you to Hexi to investigate a case," Li Hung said. "Did I send you to mobilize Geshuhan's troops?" Li Jinglong glanced over the military report, and he couldn't resist finding that funny. Li Hung continued, "Putting aside the matter of you mobilizing the Liangzhou troops, you also mobilized the soldiers of Yumen Pass under Jiazhou." "That's my uncle," Hung Jun interrupted. Li Jinglong thought, damn it, but just as he was about to speak up in reminder, Li Hung said coldly, "I don't need you to remind me." "The imperial consort had me go find him," Hung Jun continued. Li Hung. Hung Jun had observed, through watching their speech and behavior, that this group of people were all afraid of the emperor, and since the emperor only had eyes for the imperial consort, these words immediately stopped Li Hung's sentence. As expected, Li Hung didn't dare to say any more. "Geshuhan's troops," Li Jinglong said, "he sent out under his own command." "The various officials of the court don't think that," Li Hung said. "As for the 200,000 corpse ghosts invading the borders, where are they? The court is treating this matter like a groundless tale, and they're all asking me why a member of the crown prince's entourage is able to mobilize the 50,000 troops under Geshuhan." Li Jinglong said, "Since you trusted me and sent me out, then the matter of the corpse ghosts that fell in battle cannot be deemed a groundless tale. The duty of the exorcism department is to protect the peace of the Great Tang, and if we did not mobilize the troops in a hurry, then it would be difficult to resolve the dangers this time." Li Hung's rage calmed a little, and he said coldly, "Then, since the ghosts of the border have been exterminated, do you have any proof?" "I don't." Li Jinglong knew that the most troublesome part was already over, and he continued, "If you will allow this one to speak freely, tossing a Yaoguai into the midst of the morning court is definitely not a good idea. Why apply to have Yadan be your appointed territory?" Li Hung asked solemnly. "To suppress them," Li Jinglong said. "With that, we can ensure that within 1,000 years, there will be no more corpses ghosts that fell in battle invading the borders." Li Hung studied Li Jinglong, before finally saying, "Since the ghosts have been dealt with, then you should have returned to Chang'an at top speed to report. Why did you dally for almost 3 months before returning?" "To deal with a matter that is involved in the fortune of my Great Tang," Li Jinglong said, glossing over it. When Hung Jun heard these words, he froze, but Li Jinglong gestured for him to calm down. "Describe the details," Li Heng said, his tone growing warmer. I cannot say right now, Li Jinglong said. His Majesty must be here, and only when this official, Heng Jun, Your Highness, and His Majesty are here can I speak. Li Heng's forehead furrowed, and he studied Li Jinglong solemnly, saying, Minister Li, Go is helping you, you must not misunderstand. Li Jinglong said earnestly, if that is really the case, then I dare not hide things from your highness. I can't help you, Li Heng said, letting out a heavy sigh. Li Jinglong suddenly felt an ominous sense of foreboding as several eunuchs moved the folding screen behind Li Heng aside, revealing Yang Quozhong and Gao Lishi, who were sitting behind it. Yang Quozhong drawled, with what happened this time, we should have interrogated you in front of the entire imperial court, but His Highness was unwilling to call a session OFTHE court and told us to listen in first, to make sure you were not harboring any selfish reservations. Li Jinglong, now we really should have a proper chat. That's right. Li Jinglong, however, began to smile. No matter how dull Heng Jun was, he would also be able to sense that something was not right. Gao Lishi added, now, we can count this as saving face for you. What 200,000 strong corpse ghost army slaughtering border cities, what 9-colored deer in the Dunhuang Majao caves, these words are not something that you can say to the imperial court, and even if you said them, I imagine that no one would believe them. The matters of the imperial court belong to the imperial court, and the matters of ghosts and gods belong to ghosts and gods, Li Jinglong said, his tone growing a little more adamant as well. The exorcism department has never been in the same jurisdiction as the gathered lords here. Let us each mind our own matters, why the need for this unnecessary action? What each mind our own matters, Yang Quozhong suddenly interjected loudly. Human lives are the most important, and yet 740 some soldiers died under the Yumen Pass, while the Liangzhou troops lost more than 3,000. You used subjugating Yao as the excuse, but you just got on your horse and left. How will His Majesty explain this to the family members of the deceased troops? Li Jinglong did not respond. He pressed one hand on the back of Heng Jun's hand, indicating that he not make any sound. Explain clearly everything that you investigated, in its entirety, Gao Lishi said. As for whether or not the various officials of the court will believe it, I cannot guarantee. Li Jinglong, speak, Li Heng said. Now that things have come to this, what are you waiting for? Li Jinglong thought for a moment, before responding, I'm waiting for the messenger. Li Heng's forehead furrowed, while Gao Lishi and Yang Quozhong's expressions grew odd. Li Jinglong could only hope that he not fall prey to his bad luck, and he hoped that the emperor was right by the imperial consort's side. He could only hope that that message would successfully arrive to the imperial consort, and he could only hope that this loving couple would find some time to take a look at the missive in the midst of their endless matters. Yang Quozhong then said, ah well, from how I see it, it's best that they are jailed first. Heng Jun. He hadn't gotten to eat anything, and now he would have to sit in jail. Heng Jun's anger immediately ignited. End chapter. Legend of Exorcism. Chapter 78. My heart delights at my lord. But just at this moment, a voice came from outside. His Majesty summons Li Jinglong dash. When he heard this voice, Li Jinglong knew that he had won. Honored lords, your highness, this subject will take his leave first. Everyone. Yang Quozhong and Gao Lishi were originally ready to denounce Li Jinglong publicly, but they hadn't expected that in the very end, it was the Son of Heaven himself who would save Li Jinglong. Li Heng was also shocked. When Li Jinglong saw Li Heng's expression, he knew that the matter this time was one that Li Longji perhaps didn't know anything about, it had all been kept from him by the crown prince. This matter had wide implications, and was more about the power struggle between Geshu Han, Yang Quozhong, and Li Heng. For Li Heng to be unwilling to report it was understandable. If it was only the corpse ghosts that fell in battle, Li Jinglong might have let it go, but it also touched upon Mara, where one misstep could cause the complete collapse of the entire chessboard. Li Jinglong didn't dare to be careless, so he could only report back to Li Longji as soon as he could. With this bypassing of his immediate superior, the crown prince naturally hated him, but Li Jinglong couldn't spare any more thought on that. He immediately headed to the Jinhuoluo. Hung Jun, Li Jinglong said to Hung Jun, suddenly coming to a stop in the corridor. Do you trust me? Hung Jun stopped for a second, before nodding. Li Jinglong said, no matter what I do or say, you must trust me. Of course. What's wrong? Hung Jun asked. Li Jinglong thought deeply for a while, before saying, in a bit, no matter what I say in front of His Majesty, you must remember this, Hung Jun. Hung Jun. Hung Jun watched Li Jinglong curiously, but Li Jinglong only looked at him calmly, before finally saying, you just need to remember that to me, you are the most important. Let's go ba. There was a blush on Li Jinglong's face, and he didn't keep talking, instead chivying Hung Jun to hurry along. In that instant, Hung Jun clearly sensed that Li Jinglong was a little embarrassed. His heart began to thump loudly as he caught up to Li Jinglong, the two of them coming to the Jinhuoluo. Winter had passed, and spring had come. New leaves had sprouted from the branches of the country's guardian ginkgo, and its surroundings were dotted with peach trees that had been transplanted here, blossoming with vivid brilliance. Li Longji and Yang Yahuan were sitting on the lounge chair as they always had, but when Li Jinglong and Hung Jun presented themselves, the music stopped. Li Longji sent someone to bring Li Hung over. Li Jinglong was just about to report, but Li Longji said as lightly as the clouds and wind, let's talk about it after the crown prince is here ba. Yang Yahuan was wearing a white outfit, and she smiled happily as she looked at Hung Jun, asking, did you manage to find your uncle? We found him, Hung Jun smiled back, taking the pastries and tea that a eunuch handed him. It's a pity that we didn't get to say goodbye to him, because we had to come back in such a rush. Yang Yahuan said, there will always be a chance to meet again, do not worry. Li Longji said, if it wasn't for this missive that you sent, Zhen wouldn't even know that you took a trip to Liangzhou. Zhen was wondering why no news of you had been heard these past few days. Li Jinglong blushed with shame. This official was fortunate enough to be carrying out matters on the crown prince's behalf. Li Jinglong originally wanted to continue making his case, but the emperor merely asked after some matters of the local customs and practices, so Li Jinglong could only give some casual responses. When Li Hung arrived, Li Longji glanced at Yang Yahuan. At that, she rose and left, and the atmosphere in the Jinhuoluo grew imposing once more. Li Jinglong, Li Longji said coldly, after dismissing everyone else. What you mentioned in the missive is incredibly exaggerated to scare the people. Hung Jun hadn't expected that as soon as Yang Yahuan left, Li Longji would change completely, and he immediately grew nervous. With those words, Li Longji tossed the memorial to the throne onto the ground, where it unfurled. Hung Jun managed to catch a glimpse of Mara has descended to this earth and plunged the people into suffering and despair, and he immediately jolted and looked towards Li Jinglong. There is not a single false word, Li Jinglong said. As for the specifics. As they spoke, Li Jinglong took a sip of tea. Beginning from Mara of many years ago, he spoke of the 1,000-year cycle of reincarnation, then to this time period, when they had gone to Hexi, how they had learned of the specifics from the king of the corpse ghosts that fell in battle. He only left out any part that had to do with Hung Jun, and in the end, he said, and as of today, the seed of Mara is still in this world, and its rebirth is already unavoidable. When Hung Jun heard these words, his heart skipped a beat. He hadn't expected that Li Jinglong wouldn't hide even a bit of that. What you mean is, Li Longji murmured, there is a seed of Mara, and when the time is right, it will grow up to become Mara. Correct. Li Jinglong clearly had come prepared today, and he wasn't planning to hide that from the emperor. Where is the devil seed? Li Longji then asked. That is being investigated, Li Jinglong replied composedly. I have already grasped its trail, but I cannot say where it is right now. Li Hong's voice trembled as he said, Li Jinglong, you best not be speaking nonsense to falsely spread alarm. Your Highness, Li Jinglong replied, not at all polite, in this occurrence of events, is there any part that is unreasonable? Sometimes, the words that had the most power to persuade were that of the truth. Hung Jun had to admit that Li Jinglong was very smart, because as soon as he revealed the truth, no matter how twisted this process was and how impossible this story seemed, this link upon link of the truth possessed power of its own to make people believe. I shall get rid of the seed of Mara, Li Jinglong continued. But in this process, Chang'an will undergo great chaos, and your Majesty's support will be necessary. To get rid of the seed of Mara also implied that Li Jinglong was going to kill him. In that instant, the world whirled around Hung Jun, and when he heard these words, it was as if he had seen the future where he would die by Li Jinglong's own hand. But Li Jinglong merely gave him a look. It was the gaze that Hung Jun was the most used to. Be calm, leave everything else to me. Hung Jun thought of Li Jinglong's words, and he finally managed to suppress that discomfort in his heart. He nodded. How will you get rid of it? Li Longji asked. Li Jinglong answered, the seed of Mara is what the Yao King is searching for. As long as it is found, if we stand guard by it, then the Yao King will reveal itself sooner or later, because it will come searching for it, unheeding of anything else. At that time, I will use all the power of the exorcism department to first completely eliminate Xiaoyu, before then using the heart lamp to purify the devil seed and burn it to ash. You may not be able to achieve this, Li Longji said. If I am unable to achieve this, Li Jinglong said, others have even less of a chance to do so. To face down the Yao tribes, the entirety of the exorcism department is willing to put in all their effort into such a battle, just like Hung Jun, by my side right now, who is someone very important in my life. They have handed their very lives to me, but when we face the court, Your Majesty and Your Highness, when the danger comes from our own people, we have no way to defy Your Majesty's edict, and we are unable to ignore the reproach of the officials of the court. This is exactly why I needed to report this to Your Majesty in its entirety. When we leave the Jinhuoluo, no fifth person can know of this matter. I need Your Majesty's unreserved trust. And saying this, Li Jinglong placed his hand on top of Hung Jun's, which was draped over his knee. He raised his head and studied Li Longji's expression. Li Longji only watched the two of them silently. Hung Jun's gaze held a hint of desolation. Though he had long since known, when he heard this, he still felt sorrow in his heart. But he didn't break free of Li Jinglong's hold, all because in this very instant, he only had Li Jinglong to lean on. Li Jinglong, Li Longji said, do you understand what you are doing? Li Jinglong replied, this subject understands. With that, Zhen will fulfill your request. This subject holds Your Majesty in great esteem, Li Jinglong said in the end. In the depths of the night, Li Jinglong and Hung Jun walked through a small alley, one in front, one behind, moving slowly. Hung Jun walked ahead, while Li Jinglong followed behind. The two of them were both lost in their own thoughts, and they didn't speak for a long while. Hung Jun, Li Jinglong finally opened his mouth. I have something to say to you. But Hung Jun responded, I'm so tired, I don't want to talk. Li Jinglong raced a few steps forward and explained, today, the Crown Prince's summons were sudden. There are many things that I originally wanted to explain to you last night, or tonight. I'm going back, Hung Jun replied. He still trusted Li Jinglong, but those words in the Jinhuoluo had hit him too heavily, and he was a little at a loss. The stones outside the main doors of the exorcism department flew open, and Hung Jun hurried in. Li Jinglong followed behind him, saying, you promised me that no matter what, you'd trust me. Hung Jun turned back and glanced at Li Jinglong, loneliness and desolation in his gaze. He understood the reason, but in this moment, he felt very terrible in his own heart. "You two are back," the Carpiao asked from the yard. "Have you eaten? Where did you go?" Hung Jun passed by with rapid steps. Lu Su stuck his head out from Emorigin's room, shouting, "Hung Jun!" Hung Jun went into his room and closed the door. Li Jinglong came racing after him, and he stood outside the door, saying, "Hung Jun, let me explain." But Hung Jun didn't open the door. When facing that single, thin door, Li Jinglong didn't barge in either, he merely stood right there. No lights had been lit inside the room, and his large shadow was silhouetted on the paper door. Hung Jun stared at that silhouette, not saying a single thing. Atai, Emorigin, and the rest all stuck their heads out of the room to watch Li Jinglong, but he waved towards Atai, gesturing for him to come over before saying a few quiet words into his ear. Atai was torn between laughing and crying, and he went back to his room with one hand pressed to his forehead. "He's all right, ba?" Emorigin mouthed. Li Jinglong nodded. Lu Su was just about to go call out in front of the door, but Li Jinglong hastily stopped him. He gestured to Emorigin, making a cage gesture with his fingers. "Lu Su." Emorigin understood, and he hurried to grab Lu Su, explaining quietly into his ear. Lu Su didn't keep fighting to break free of Emorigin's hold, instead studying Li Jinglong doubtfully. Hung Jun laid on the bed, and when he saw that Li Jinglong had left, he began to toss and turn. He thought about the words that he had said today. He understood in his heart that Li Jinglong was protecting him, which was how today's words came about. "I know that the words I said today must not have been easy to hear." Li Jinglong's voice came again from outside the door. Hung Jun's heart was as tangled as a skein of rope. "Stop talking. Go away, ba." "But you only heard the words that had to do with Mara," Li Jinglong said, not heeding Hung Jun's order to see the visitor off. "There was one other sentence that I said to your majesty, which was, in my life, you are someone that is very important to me." Emorigin, Lu Su, the Carpiao, Atai, Ashinakayan, when the group heard these words, they bore expressions of amazement. Emorigin even smiled, and he made a fist with his hand and waved it at Li Jinglong. Though he didn't know what had happened, he still cheered him on. The Carpiao's fish mouth widened. Everyone acted as if they were watching the fun, and Li Jinglong grew awkward, waving his hand for them to hurry up and leave. In the room, Hung Jun still didn't reply. Li Jinglong came over, holding the barbet lute in his hand. He sat down, his legs crisscrossed, outside Hung Jun's room and said, "Hung Jun, do you know why I admire His Majesty?" The room was a patch of stillness, and the moonlight shone through the paper window, turning the ground snowy white. Li Jinglong continued to speak. 10 years ago, Imperial Consort Wu passed away from an illness. His Majesty fell in love with Imperial Consort Yang at first sight, so he summoned her into the palace. The Imperial Consort was once his son's wife. This action was no different from setting off a huge wave within the Imperial court. But he held his ground despite objections, only because he believed that the two of them would be together, Li Jinglong continued. Aside from that, if the sky collapsed or the ground split open, if the vast seas flooded the silk plains, that had nothing to do with him. Hung Jun sat on the bed, his legs crossed, and dazedly watching Li Jinglong's silhouette outside, not at all understanding why he was saying this. Li Jinglong was not only completely lacking any desire to apologize, he actually sucked in a breath after he finished explaining. "Let me play a song for you, Hung Jun," Li Jinglong said. Hung Jun. Hung Jun's anger had already dissipated, and when he thought of how the others probably hadn't slept yet and Li Jinglong was sitting outside like this, the rest of them probably thought that they had argued, so he grew embarrassed. Just as he was about to go ahead and open the door for him, he heard the sound of the barbet, like flowing water. The mountains have trees and the trees have branches. Li Jinglong's voice was deep and rich, unlike the clarity of Atai's, but when that singing voice sounded, there was a strange power in it that went straight for Hung Jun's heart. My heart delights for my lord, yet my lord does not know. Li Jinglong's face was reddened by a blush as he plucked at the strings. His fingers glowed with light, and they danced between the strings without stopping. Hung Jun stopped breathing. This was a courtship tune. Hung Jun was in disbelief, and he looked around, feeling a little dizzy. He then fixed his gaze back on Li Jinglong's silhouette projected on the door. Li Jinglong continued to sing. What evening is this, that I take my boat into the river? What day is this, that I happen to share this boat with my prince? Shame, I feel, for being drawn to you, but I do not fear the shame of being denounced. My yearning is intense, yet without rest, and my thoughts are only of my prince. The mountains have trees, and the trees have branches. My heart delights in my lord, yet my lord does not know. Hung Jun. This song of the U-boatman was originally a tactful and graceful song by a U-woman, and was meant to be sung slowly. Li Jinglong, however, played very fast, and he sang the lyrics in quick succession majestically. There was a kind of constant inescapable approach, which Hung Jun had almost no way to defend against. In that instant, all of the people in the yard were struck dumb, and they stared at Li Jinglong from afar. Li Jinglong, however, changed the tune once more, and he began to play, Heavens! I yearn to love and cherish you, my lord, as you would me. Such a long life is one without regrets unless the mountains vanish, the rivers run dry, and thunder roars through the winter sky, unless snow flies during the blazing summer and the heavens and earth collide, nothing will make me give up my love for my lord. The music slowly stopped, and Li Jinglong looked at that door. His smile was handsome, and he looked like a little child as he said, Hung Jun, you like gag, don't you? Hung Jun. Hung Jun was sitting on the ground, and he couldn't help backing up a little. Outside the room, Li Jinglong didn't give him even a bit of time to consider as he said. I know that you like me, Hung Jun. Say it, say that you like me. You said it before, you like me the most. Say it once more, Hung Jun. Hung Jun couldn't resist loudly shouting, You're too dastardly. Isn't she? You can't do this. Say that you like me. Li Jinglong put down the lute, and he knelt outside of Hung Jun's door. His hands were pressed against his knees, and he said earnestly, If you say that you like me, Hung Jun, then I'm coming in. Hung Jun couldn't control himself and gasped rapidly for breath. What he was feeling right now was just like what he had felt that day when Li Jinglong hugged him and leapt down from Yejin Palace into vast emptiness. Li Jinglong was like a great general besieging a city. Though he was alone, it was as if he had a great army behind him that charged towards all of those nameless and named gods of the world, towards the endless sky, the vast land, the mountains and plains, the great oceans, the entirety of the living beings on the divine land. In the span of a breath, he would break through into the city. Say that you like me, Li Jinglong smiled. Then, Hung Jun, we'll be together. From then on, you will not leave me, and I will not leave you. Hung Jun said. Hot blood seemed to have dazed Hung Jun's mind, and he couldn't stop trembling as that sentence clogged up his throat. Everything that he yearned for was on the other side of the door. His voice grew distant, yet it seemed to well up truthfully from his heart. I like you. Hung Jun almost couldn't breathe now. Who do you like? Li Jinglong asked from outside the door. You bastard. Hung Jun's entire face was bright red as he roared angrily at the door. Li Jinglong dash. Li Jinglong let out an eye as he smiled, before he pulled open the paper door and walked in with large strides. Hung Jun immediately grew nervous, and as Li Jinglong went forward, Hung Jun shouted, What are you doing? Li Jinglong came to a stop in front of Hung Jun, who kept ducking back into a corner. His entire being had grown muddled, but Li Jinglong knelt down on one knee, before his other knee joined it on the ground as he blocked Hung Jun into the corner. Hung Jun felt awkward beyond belief, but Li Jinglong reached up and grasped his chin, studying him earnestly. He said in a quiet voice, "Don't move, be good." Right after, Li Jinglong turned his head and kissed him. Instantly, there was a boom in Hung Jun's mind, and it went completely white. Li Jinglong's lips were burning hot but also gentle, and when they touched Hung Jun's, the spring night suddenly fell silent. Hung Jun felt a beam of white light split open the vast dark night, shining right into his soul. When their lips parted, the two of them dumbly watched each other. Li Jinglong was still sitting in a kneeling position as he had before, and he studied Hung Jun. With a smile in his eyes, he asked, "What am I?" "You're a bastard," Hung Jun said. "Say that one more time." Li Jinglong asked. "You are, Wu." Before Hung Jun could say those words, he was once again kissed passionately by Li Jinglong. His eyes widened, watching Li Jinglong, before his gaze then leapt over his shoulder to outside the door. His entire face turned bright red as he tried to push Li Jinglong away. "Focus," Li Jinglong said, frowning. "Stop watching." Hung Jun was about to die from embarrassment. A large group of people was standing outside the door. "Congrats, congrats," Origin hastily said. "Zenchi, distribute some money ba," Atai said. "When a happy event occurs, you've got to give out red envelopes." Ashinakayang added, "That's right, give each of us 20 taels ba." Lu Su said, "I feel like you're indeed pretty bastardly, Zenchi." Li Jinglong let out an angry roar. "If you keep talking, I'll dock your pay." With that, the entire group dispersed, leaving behind the Carpiao, which watched Hung Jun dumbly, as if it was very disappointed. "Close the door for me," Hung Jun hurried to say, "Zhao Zilong." The Carpiao said, "Hung Jun." Hung Jun hurried to add, "Let me be alone for a bit." The Carpiao could only close the door and run off. When Hung Jun looked back at Li Jinglong, he was so nervous that he almost threw up, and he rose, trying to dash outside. Li Jinglong, however, asked, "Where are you going?" Hung Jun said, I'm going to get a breath of fresh air." Hung Jun put on his wooden gi and dashed out in just his inner robe. Li Jinglong kept following behind. Hung Jun took a circle around the yard, his face set in confusion, but Li Jinglong only followed, going wherever Hung Jun went. When Hung Jun turned, he almost slammed into Li Jinglong's chest, and Li Jinglong asked, "Want me to hug you?" Hung Jun, "No." Li Jinglong said, "They all heard." Hung Jun. "Come with me," Li Jinglong said, grabbing Hung Jun's hand. Right now, as soon as Hung Jun felt that touch, he grew nervous and wanted to shake it off, but Li Jinglong held on tightly and leapt up onto the rooftops. Hung Jun's mind was occupied elsewhere and he almost slipped and fell, so Li Jinglong wrapped an arm around his waist and took him leaping across the rooftops. They bounded over several eaves, climbing up onto the Dian pagoda. Hung Jun felt as if he was sunk in a dream. He had no way to digest this sudden change in his life, and he only wanted to leave Li Jinglong speedily so that he could go calm down on his own. Li Jinglong, however, followed right behind him, not even giving him a chance to breathe, as if he was afraid that the moment he turned, he would lose Hung Jun. Hung Jun turned his head to face Li Jinglong, the emotions in his heart swelling like a huge wave threatening to swallow the sky. He had a torrent of words, but he didn't know how to say them. "Look," Li Jinglong said. "The Chang'an of tonight is so beautiful." End chapter.